Hey guys, and welcome back to Culture Boys, a show where two guys just want to have a chat. I'm Nathan, and as always, I'm joined by Pepe, and we are doing our new yearly thing, reading all of the new Shonen Jump manga of the year.
Yeah, 2024 Shonen Jump manga. Nathan, put an effect on that so it sounds like epic as well. Yes,
You said epic, not annoying.
So, if you guys watched last year's episode, me and Nathan, we read the first chapters of each new manga that came out in Weekly Jump in 2023, and we're doing the same this year. We are going straight in. We've only read the one chapter.
Yes.
So we haven't read more than that. So bear in mind that these reviews, they're going to be short and they don't have the full story to them. There might be bits where you're like, oh, this bit might get better or whatever. Or it's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. But we haven't read the whole thing.
Yeah.
We're just doing trial runs of these manga.
Yeah. We literally had the sample taster, literally the first chapter, and that's all.
Yeah. We've done this before, as I said, and last year we read Kagurabachi, one chapter. And we did a whole episode on that a few weeks back. And you never know, it could be the same next year. We might go into another manga if we feel like we really want to. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But Nathan, I'm ready to jump into these whenever you are, bro.
Let's go, brother, because we got what was it? What did we count? 13 of these?
12, 13 new series, roughly. But we're going to start off with one start of the year, Shadow Eliminators.
Yes. So, get ready for lots of breakdowns, everybody. You know how it be.
Yeah, not mental ones. Maybe mental ones.
It depends. It depends.
We'll see.
Anyway, Shadow Eliminators, or Rui Senki, created by Kento Amamiya, published December 4th, 2023. So it's cheeky, because it is technically the way they publish it, it's technically 2024, but
it's Weekly Jump's first issue in 2024, so it's like this counts as a 2024 manga.
Anyway, December 4th to 2023 till April 22nd, 2024. 19 chapters available. A high school student's sense of justice is put to the test when otherworldly beings break the rules of his reality. By the way, all of these are coming from Viz, so...
Nice. Thank you. Right.
Nice and concise. Thanks, Viz, for all of that.
Short and sweet. Love that. Right. Shadow Eliminators. I'm going to say this straight off the bat. This is the start of this is foreshadowing a lot of things in this year of Weekly Jump.
Yeah.
Those two things being Supernatural series, which get cancelled roughly after 17 or so chapters.
Do you know what the sad thing is?
Yeah.
Is that this is the start of what is basically would have been a really good and bad year for me in manga. It feels like this whole year, this theme is like, oh my god, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's dead. And I'm like, God fucking, but I didn't kill it this time. It was already dead when I got there.
No, you didn't. No, it was it just did it to itself. Weekly Jump did this to itself. Arguably, they did it for the whole first half of the year. So, Shadow Eliminators. It's one of those where it's an interesting concept straight off the bat. What I like about this are its main two characters, which are Aoba Kuromori and Yayoi Azakaze.
Yeah.
Those two actually, I like the dynamic between two of them because you got this really laid back oafy kind of character and this straight laced oh, you need to do this the correct way kind of character.
Yeah.
They meet and they're kind of it's a cool dynamic. I like that. But that's all kind of...
They basically play out to be your classic comedy duo, you know?
Yeah.
Got your goofball and your straight man.
Yeah. And it's Alba, which is the
Exorcist.
He's the main supernatural fella, and then Asakaze is the guy that's what? There's
what a great name for a very average series.
Yeah.
The main supernatural fella.
Well, we're gonna get into this. There's a lot of this. Yeah, like, so he's also like Asakaze is also known as Justice Man.
Mm.
He doesn't have any powers, but he's thrown into this world of like, oh, there's things going on, there's supernatural shit.
Yeah.
And arguably, as I said, I like the characters in this. That's kind of the only thing I kind of liked about this series. You can kind of see why it was only 19 chapters. The rest of it seems very like, yep, here's your typical supernatural thing. Oh, there's monsters, there's ghosts in this world, or there's demons, and it's like, yep, and I'm here to kill them, and it's like, hey, cool. Same shit we've been seeing for the past like 30 years. Half the time.
I didn't mind it though, you know. I think because it reminded me of like some other literal other
That's
supernatural
yeah.
battle shonen that we
Yeah.
read.
I think that's why I'm kind of a little bit. But look, I can't even call it quite a negative attitude with it. But at the same time, you're right. It is a very average series, and it's not a bad one. Well, it's average first chapter. Again, we've only read the first chapter of these,
Yeah.
but it's very average, and it's like, oh, okay, it didn't make me want to read the next one. This is the one thing about it. It didn't make me want to continue reading.
No, the art was very nice, very well drawn.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. The contents, at least of the first chapter, didn't grab me.
Mm-mm.
So I also had no compulsion, even if I didn't know it was cancelled already.
Yeah.
I didn't have any compulsion to go read it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's one of those ones where, like, you know, if reread this on day one, I think both of us would think, yeah, we don't know how long this is going to last. I think we both would have probably guessed it from the first chapter.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be one of those where I might have been like, I'll try and keep up just because I like the themes, not because I actually like the thing. I realized why this year might have this whole supernatural theme.
Why is that? Is there a certain thing that you're...
Yeah, because JJK ended this year, right?
Yeah, JJK did end this year, and I think you're right. They're trying to gear up, and it was arguably in its last arc for a while. People knew it was coming to an end, and they wanted to set up for the next JJK, and boy, did they try.
Now that I've just realized that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so it makes complete sense. And arguably, like, Weekly Jump does have some spectacular, like, classic supernatural mangas. I mean, JJK being one of them, you can go through loads and loads of, like, those kind of things.
Oh yeah, they've had plenty of them.
If, like, Exorcist, I mean, D. Grey Man was one of those ones as well back in the day. Like, we've talked about that this year. But yeah, Shadow Eliminators just weren't it. It was 19 chapters, and you can kind of just see why. I don't think I'd recommend anyone reading that. I think it's just...
Yeah, it's all right.
It doesn't bring anything new to the table. However, should we move on to the next series?
Sure. Next one was something.
Yes.
Super Psychic Policeman Chojo, or Chojo Senpai.
I like that name.
That sounds like a tongue twister if you're not Japanese.
I prefer that name, to be honest. I like that.
What? Chojo Senpai?
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's right.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, actually. That rolls off the tongue a little better. Created by Shun Numa, published February 13th, 2024 to present, so ongoing. 41 chapters as of recording. A psychic cop and his rookie partner tackle neighborhood crimes in their own wonky way.
Interesting. Wonky is an interesting word for it. I've never thought of...
Yeah, I would have said like wacky.
Wacky, yeah. Wonky feels like they're like, we've used wacky too much. Let's find another word. Wonky, fine, let's go for that.
Yeah. So we got our two main characters.
Yes.
Obviously, Chojo, or Meguru Chojo, the psychic cop,
Yes.
and his rookie, now Ippongi.
Mm-hmm.
And to say wacky makes sense
Yeah.
because of the two characters, but also because Kabukicho.
I saw that and I was like, fucking hell, Nathan's going to be like losing his shit about this.
Okay, wait. But one strange thing I don't understand is you write Kabukicho, you put theater squares like thing, so you know it's Kabukicho, and then you go and say Chinjuku instead of Shinjuku?
Oh, yeah. Maybe, I don't know all the ins and outs of what sort of stuff they have to go through legally with that kind of stuff. Maybe it's...
But you know what I mean? I'm like, you use almost everything real, and then you go, the what, like, one part you're just like, no, we might get in trouble. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
It did make sense to me, like,
Yeah.
oh, Kabukicho in Shinjuku. Like, you can't just change the one letter and be like, oh, Kabukicho in Shinjuku.
I love that this is the thing you focused on as well.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because
Okay, yeah.
this is more of a Pepe series, in my opinion.
He already knows.
It's more comedy and wacky, and that's probably why I focus more on Shinjuku than anything else.
Yeah. Nathan is completely right. This is my kind of series, especially since you know what's so funny when you read the Japanese name of it, Chojo Senpai.
Mm-hmm.
So the author of this, Shunuma, had a previous series in Jump, one which I've mentioned on this channel before, called Summon Kun wa Summoner.
Oh, okay.
So, and very, very similar vibes. I think Summon Kun ran for quite a while. It was over 100 chapters, I think, before it ended.
Wow.
Again, that was about in some case, a very similar scenario of a summoner / exorcist kind of character meets a person that's thrown into the world of like, oh, look, his exorcisms and ghosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of battle-y every now and then, but very focused on comedy. The mangaka is playing to their strengths here. They've gone for a very similar kind of series that they've done before. I'm kind of glad to see that it's still going with 41 chapters, especially since this came out at the start of the year. It's one of the only ones that you'll see at the start of 2024, which is still going.
Yeah.
However, it is towards the back of the magazine. In terms of table of contents.
But, like, a lot of those comedy series often do, though.
They do, yeah.
I think it depends on how much you vibe with the situation and whatever, the week to week.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't even know. I almost wanted to say monster of the week kind of thing, but you know what I mean? Like,
it's true.
It's the sitcom, isn't it? Like,
it is that kind of thing. And arguably, Summon Kun wa Summoner was also at the back of the magazine for quite a while as well. It wasn't exactly at the front. So, I mean, if anything, this feels like another version of that previous manga. There's a lot of stuff which it carries on with it. But in my opinion, in the whole, I think what it does well, and I enjoyed Summon Kun wa Summoner, and I enjoyed this. It gives off slight Gintama vibes, especially with is it was his name Chojo, the main character, the psychic cop, but I think Ippongi feels like a stronger character in this compared to other characters he's written before. You know when you get that normie character in a supernatural world, sometimes they're just like, what, this is going on, that's crazy. But Ippongi actually has her own quirk of just being super strong, basically, like a great judo fighter. Like she has a own dojo. Is it
great as long as they wear a collar or have a collar that she can grab. Yeah. She grew up in a dojo, but at least in the first chapter, her quirk is I can throw almost anyone. As long as they got a collar, though.
Yeah. I like that. It's those gags that come through, every now and then. It's there's little, it's not too heavily running kind of gags, but it's it's funny. I like it. I like this series.
I mean, I think the funniest part for me in the chapter was, how she got her assignment to Chojo.
Oh.
Because basically, Chojo, no one wants to work with him because he's difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Because he'll read your mind and just, force you to do things. And everyone's, got all these rumors. And you find out that Ippongi got that assignment on her first day because her superior, as in, the chief, was, harassing her. Yeah. she fucking threw him over her shoulder.
It's I do like these. I mean, even Chojo as a character, the fact that he gets so pent up on the smaller things, he's trying to show off to some kids with his yo-yo skills, and then later on he gets the wrecking ball and does the exact same thing. It's the kids turn up, he's like, look, I can do it with the wrecking ball.
Okay, that part was also pretty good, especially because the kids were like, oh my god, he's so amazing, get out of the area, get out, he's using a wrecking ball. Oh my god, he's so amazing.
Just stop showing off to the kids. You're only doing this to show off to the kids. It's so good. I think that it's those kind of gags which come through, and it's a good comedy series. Again, I don't know how long it will last in Jump. I do think it might end up hitting that 100 mark and maybe it'll end after that. It's doing the exact same things that Summon-kun with Summoner was doing, exactly, and I can kind of see it going the exact same way unless there's stuff that changes further down the line. But I like it. If you're into a comedy series like me with some supernatural twists, I think it's one I'd recommend.
However many chapters it gets, it still holds, it still gets that award for being one of the only ones that survive.
It's so true. It's that one, like, it's going strong for the moment. I do like that.
It's one of the only ones that survived the axe, so...
Right. Talking about the axe, should we move on to our next series?
Yep. Next up is Dear Anemone, or Dear Anemone.
God, I was pronouncing that wrong the whole time. I was calling it Anemone.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's right or not. You're probably right with it. You probably are. Sorry, carry on.
I don't know. Anyway, created by Rin Matsui, published February 19th to June 17th. 17 chapters, so right in the act zone. Humankind thought they understood evolution. They were wrong. Deadly wrong.
That sounds like going for it. That's the shortest one, yeah. Love that. Short, they really go for the short and sweet thing. Right. Bit of backstory behind this. This is a series by one of the assistants to My Hero Academia.
Oh, okay.
So this is, I don't know if it's the first crack at a series or not, but it is certainly there.
I would not have guessed that.
You can kind of see some bits like in the art, I guess. Like there's some of the line work. You can kind of feel like, when like in My Hero, when you get like a really good like when you get a panel of like one of the villains and it's super detailed. Like I don't know if it features into it like that, but it does kind of look like there's some influence come through on that maybe.
Okay.
But I think, if anything, this series, I don't know if you ever read it or saw about it, Nathan. Hell's Paradise. Have you ever...
I've heard of it. I haven't read or watched it.
This is almost an identical start to Hell's Paradise. People go on an island to find things.
Okay.
Where it's filled with monsters and stuff. So Hell's Paradise, I think, has a better concept with it, like, because it's a survival thing. I think Hell's Paradise does it really well. This series, I'm like, yeah, it's got some good artwork and it's dark as hell, which is why I don't think it lasted in Jump as long, because straight off the bat, they go in with some mad, like, gruesome imagery there, like, with all these monsters.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing. I don't think this first chapter was that strong either.
Nah.
Because, like, yeah, they got all that dark themes, they got the gore, but that one was an absolute slog to get through. I sat there struggling to get through it because, like, they're establishing everything, fair enough, you got to do your exposition, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. The cover shows me a thing, and it's not there yet, so I don't care.
It doesn't come into it until literally the last 2 pages. The whole selling point of that cover, which is like this main character with this monster behind them.
Plant thing.
Like, that plant thing only comes into it on the last page, really.
Yeah.
And again, the thing is with this as well, the characters feel really weak in this.
I mean, they're supposed to, though, because they're like, whatever,
But, like, not in terms of strength, but in terms of...
Oh, right, you mean like writing?
Writing. Like, we get, like, the sense the main character has a friend that used to help them out when they were being bullied and stuff, but that's the only thing you really get from it.
Yeah.
The rest of them are very much like, oh, look, we're going onto this island. This guy's cocky. This guy's like, oh.
For money.
And it's like, oh, okay. And there's no real character building behind this until apart from your main character who gets a little bit of backstory. Like, the rest of it is kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And again, when you compare this to something like Hell's Paradise, which has a much better concept, much better characters, you're like, this is just a weak copycat, in my opinion. Like, not to hate on it too much. I mean, obviously, like, it's the established mangaka and stuff like that. But as a series, as a first chapter, it's pretty weak, in my opinion.
I wanted to like it because, like, I like the idea that, like, something happened. I like the premise.
Yes.
Like, the premise to me was kind of cool, right? I like the idea that, like, oh, humanity now has to go back to the Galapagos because more evolution's taking place, and now there's like essentially like giant versions of animals we know, but somehow they have more intelligence. Like, as in, like, they have almost human-like intelligence. And the whole point of these people going to the Galapagos is to, like, find the first ever team, which, I mean, I can already kind of see that it's like, oh, they evolved from the people.
Yeah.
Like, I already guessed that before the first monster turned up to attack the group. That it was like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be that the people that were there evolve into these things, these creatures.
Yeah.
And that's where the human like intelligence comes from. But that's also part of the reason why I was like, it's okay. I wouldn't recommend it.
I think the only selling points to this for me was the artwork, which is quite nice sometimes. And arguably, if you like your monster kind of stuff, like some of the monsters are generally quite terrifying because you got that one bird which mimics people's voices and then lures people to them and then it just eats them. Like, it's quite a cool concept. Like, I do like it. It's like actual kind of horror-y kind of thing. It's so interesting as well because because Manga Plus has a comment section as well. I rarely ever go in it. But I was like, I wonder what people are saying about this. And it was getting loads of good reviews at the start. But everyone was also saying Hell's Paradise, Hell's Paradise, Hell's Paradise. Because it...
Oh, wow.
But Nathan, I'd highly recommend watching Hell's Paradise or reading it. Not this.
What a way to end it.
It's just a better version of this, mate. That's what I'd say.
Fair enough.
Moving swiftly on, the next new manga which was published in Jump in 2024 was Astro Royale. We've already done an episode on this.
Yes.
We can watch that if you want our full review on it, so do check that out. But we'll be moving past that and we'll be going straight into this next one.
The next one is Kyokuto Necromance. Or basically the same thing, except, Kyokuto Necromance. If you want to say, if you want the Japanese.
That was really essential, thank you. I wouldn't have guessed. Thank you, Nathan.
No problem. Created by Fusai Naba, published April 22nd, 2024 to September 2nd, 2024. 18 chapters. Deadly spirits abound and can be used as weapons to destroy their own kind. Right. This is one I really want to talk about.
Right, okay, yeah.
Because I read this and immediately went, oh, I see. So this is a Persona Shin Megami Tensei kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the characters have these rings that have a spell that bind a Shiryu or a creature, these spirits or whatever, monsters or whatever you call them, to the ring, and they can summon them to fight. They're like
fuck yeah.
My first reaction, especially because the main character's one, was like, oh, it's Jojo. It's a stand.
Yeah, that was my instinct as well, yeah.
But then, because they were like, oh no, what's his face? Yoji Amane, the necromancer.
Yes.
He has one that's like a little fairy. And I was like, oh, so it is more like Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
Or Persona, because they're all like different. They're not just... I mean, like, JoJo has different classes, but...
They interact with that kind of... what was it called again? The thing you said, I can't remember. Like, whatever the stand is.
The Shiryu.
The Shiryu. Like, they can actually interact with them by the looks of it as well, because it feels a little bit like... I get what you mean completely with the Persona Shin Megami Tensei vibe. It's a lot more like that. I immediately thought, like, JoJo. Oh, it's a stand. It's a JoJo thing. But, but no, you're so right. The Persona example makes so much more sense. And, like... I do quite like the concept of this.
Same.
There's certain things about it, like I have a love-hate with it because I actually really like the main character of this. Like, because he's like, it kind of feels a little bit heartwarming. It's like he wants to take care of his grandma and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, that's quite sweet. That's quite wholesome. On the other hand, I just fucking hate Yoji.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yoji is a character I find incredibly irritating. Like, nothing about this character feels likable to me. It's like, and those characters usually are the ones that people really get on board with. I understand that there's probably some selling points of like, oh, he looks gothy or whatever, and it's like, it's powerful. But everything else about him, I just don't like.
See, for me, this you might not get this vibe because I'm not sure. I don't think you've played the Devil May Cry.
Nah.
But I was like, he's kind of like a manga Dante.
Is it Dante? Okay, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same because Dante's like, he knows he's hot shit.
Yeah.
So he acts He just does what he wants to do. Whereas Yoji, I'm like, I don't know that Yoji's hot shit, but like, dude acts weird.
It acts like it, don't it? I think that's what it is. Like, it's like this kind of like, like he thinks a lot of himself. He's confident in himself, which is fine. But man, like, I don't think they established that quick enough.
No.
Like, it's only until like the last few pages where it's like, oh, he is hot shit. He can fight and stuff like that with his stand
Yeah.
persona. And I do think the whole concept of this manga is quite interesting, but 18 chapters, again, a supernatural kind of series, man, it is...
Okay, this one hurt because I was like, I would actually read this.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Genuinely, I would actually read this. And I feel like it's because there is the potential that they either will evolve as in more rings or more items that could hold these Shiryo, these creatures.
Yeah.
Or the Shiryo itself is just going to gain new abilities. But either way, I was just like reading this. I was like, that's cool. That's kind of cool. I'm down. Right. But it's straight up just like, I got in the axe zone and then dead.
Out of all the ones that have been cancelled this year, I think this is actually probably my favorite out of all of them. Just because the concepts I found was quite cool. And Necromancers is actually a little bit different. I know we've had Exorcists. I know we've had Summoners. We've had a lot of different supernatural things.
Honestly, saying Necromancer, though, like, it feels like they... earlier when we were saying, like, wonky versus wacky.
Yeah, right.
This feels very similar in the fact that it's like, there's lots and lots of supernatural, and it's always exorcist or shaman or something. We need to pick one of the words that isn't very common.
You're so right, actually. That's a very good point. Like, we don't want to keep... Maybe Jump are quite self-aware of this. Is like, look, we like your series, right?
Yeah.
We've kind of gone over with the Exorcists and the Summoners and the Psychics. Can we twist this somehow?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you take out Necromance and you put Summon in there,
it's the exact
works the same.
Thing. Yeah, it is 100%, yeah.
You take out Necromance and you put Exorcist, you might question because, like, typically you think Exorcist, like, gets rid of things, like spiritual things. But then you could also argue that, he uses it to beat the evil spirits or monsters. So then you're like, okay, Exorcist. That's the thing, is like, it just feels like that second word is just like...
You just swapped in.
Because we got a lot of these things coming in all at the same time. So we don't want everyone to be like, what Exorcist one are we talking about?
Yeah.
The first one, the third one, the seventh one, or what? Like,
yeah, it's so true. You're so right with that. And maybe that is to its detriment as well, because just Jump went hard on fucking all these psychic supernatural series, and it just fell like the rest of them.
I do feel like different time periods, different situations, some of these might have actually lasted a little longer.
I kind of feel like if it was in a different magazine as well, it probably could have done better. I think even what the fuck it was. I think if that was in a different magazine, I think it maybe would have thrived a bit more as well, given more pages and chapters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just don't think these last two, I just don't think were right for Weekly Jump, in my opinion.
It's just a shame for this one. I actually, this one I thought had legs.
I do agree with you. Out of all of them, I think, yeah.
I thought this one could have gone all right. But I mean, there is a limit, because it's like, I don't know. Again, I didn't know how the power scaling is going to work in that, because it's shonen. So eventually you're like, you gotta figure that out at some point. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know how far that would go.
Yeah, they got to establish that so quickly as well, and like arguably, I don't know how the next few chapters went. Obviously, clearly it wasn't resonating with a lot of people because it just ended quite soon. But yeah, I mean, there's another psychic kind of supernatural series just got the cut.
Well, here's the funny thing, right? The way it's kind of going, it seems like, there's one that I kind of vibe with, then one you vibe with, then one I vibe with. It seems like we're like bouncing back and forth. This next one, I don't know though.
Yeah,
I don't know who this is for.
They've even seen my reaction to this already, and I think we're
This next one, I don't know who it's for.
Yeah,
Psych House or Saikuru Biyori, created by Omusuke Kobayashi, published May 13th to September 9th. 17 chapters, so X Zone. If you suddenly got supernatural powers one day, how would your life change? That's it.
These feel like they're getting short, but they're actually all the same length. Psych House.
Yeah.
Immediately looking back at my notes because I was just like, what is this? First thing was okay. Even then, I think I immediately reading this, I felt like this is probably more targeted at little kids. I think if you asked who is this for, I think the only people I can see vibing with this series is little kids. Even what was the big kind of bad in this? What was the problem that they faced in it? It was like, this one character was stealing onigiri from a convenience store because she needed to feed herself and her mum was in hospital.
Yeah, because she's struggling financially, yeah.
That was the complication in this chapter. Like in these previous ones, we've seen these monsters pop up. We've seen this pop up. This feels like, obviously this isn't a big battle series. This is a very I'd say kid friendly, nice psychic, maybe feeding into comedy. I just didn't feel like this resonated with me personally, but I don't think it was for me at the same time. If you put this on TV and put it your little cousin might like this, and I think it's just for kids, mate. I don't think this is.
Do you know what this is? You're right. If this was after school, literally CBBC or CITV or something, after school daytime TV.
Yeah,
you're right. Because it's like the main character, he's weird because he wears a bucket on his head, and there's little situations that are almost PSAs.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It felt like a PSA, okay, you're struggling financially, but don't steal. Ask people for help.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Because the shopkeeper even does say that. Literally, kid, just ask for help if you're struggling.
Yeah. And the thing is with, what is it, the main character, what was his name again?
Nemuru Suya.
It's kind of a character which I think a kid would quite find funny. I think the only kind of bit which I quite liked in this chapter was, I think it was 2 full pages where it was just this one page of this one random kid, not a main character or anything, just walking home, and then the next full page was just
oh yeah
Nebu, in the background suddenly he's like, what is that, out of nowhere. I think that was quite cool. I did find that quite funny, to be fair, but apart from that, I mean, yeah, it was there, and it's ended after 17 chapters. Even if it did survive and jump, it would be towards the back of the magazine. I don't think it would go particularly. It wouldn't last that long, even if it was.
It's one of those where you just, when you're I don't really see where it's going.
Yeah, it's so true.
Because even with the week to week situational comedy, quote unquote, let's say, it wasn't exactly funny.
No.
I don't know how long you can go sort of doing PSA style things and just being there's a new person with a new power. They might be abusing that power, or they might not, but we gotta teach them to do good.
I think that's the only way I could see this series possibly getting better. It's one of those series that's going to thrive on character rather than story, I think. And it's obviously we've seen that other psychics have been established, and that's at the end of the chapter. And this is a series which really does, let's focus on this character this week, let's focus on this character. But it's like you said, if there isn't a arc or a story or a goal, it's like you said, what are we working towards here? Where does this go? Where is this going? And it isn't established straight off, and it's
all they established was, we have a psych house, and psychs are what they call powers. We have a house for people with powers, and we're recruiting. That's it.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know how much people will get invested in, cool, so just a house full of psychics.
Yeah, and it's the house looks wacky. It's got a giant plant outside. It's it's stuff that a kid would like. You know what I mean? It's everything about it is.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. It's not that premise isn't already done and interesting, because X-Men, the mansion of all the mutants and that, But I mean, in this, it's not established that there's loads of people there. It's no, we just sort of started it up and there's a few of us there. So it's kind of well, I'm not invested in that, because it's it's a new thing.
Yeah, it's
I think you're right. I don't think we're the target audience, and this one is just not for me.
at the same time, it's good to see Jump kind of trying to target that audience as well. I think it's been a while since I've seen Jump actually target a younger audience like this, if that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
It's different, I think, right? And fair play. Maybe it was just too young of a demographic. I don't know for Jump.
Maybe.
Anyway, talking about next series, right? I can.
Oh, God.
I could already tell this is gonna. I read this. Nathan's gonna hate this. Go ahead, mate. Go ahead.
And you ain't lying. Yokai Buster Murakami. Created by Daiki Ihara. Published June 17th, 2024 to November 11th. 21 chapters though, so got a little bit more than everyone else. Got a little bit further.
Yeah.
A cowardly exorcist teams up with an unflappable skeptic to bust yokai.
Mm-hmm. Nathan, did you recognize the mangaka for that at all?
I recognize the art style.
Do you know why you recognize the art style?
This is Shugamaru, isn't it?
This is Shugamaru.
I think it all just clicked. No wonder why I fucking hate it. Jesus.
I think I started reading this immediately. I was like, I've seen this art style. Where have I seen this for? And it's immediately,
Yeah.
Protect Me, Shugamaru. If anyone is wanting context for that, we've done an episode on that before as well. Go check it out.
Yeah.
We've got some interesting thoughts on that. But yes, this was 30 pages. So it's actually shorter than all of the other series we've seen so far.
It was only 30. It felt like 60.
It was like roughly 36 pages. And I tell you why it feels longer, Nathan, is because this is a gag manga, and this is something which is clearly set up like it's a sketch comedy kind of thing. This is what this feels like, a sketch comedy thing.
Yep. Very wordy.
Writing a 30-page sketch basically feels like the longest freaking thing. It feels like this should be 15 pages. This shouldn't be 30 pages. I understand probably Jump's got to be like, look, a new manga has to have a set number of pages or whatever. They've already cut it down, and it still feels so long with that. Like, this is a manga that's suited to a shorter like page length. And man, it is a slog to get through.
Yep.
And the thing is with it is that I actually find the concept quite funny because it's two characters. One of them's a cowardly. Is it yokai buster? It's another freaking exorcist. I was like, am I using the right terminology here? Spacey exorcist. One of them's a cowardly exorcist, and the other one is a normal person who's straight talking and doesn't have any powers, but just puts down these yokai using words. Not part of like they just like the exorcist just brought their friend along, basically.
Yeah, for moral support.
And I actually think the concepts of this is quite funny, but everything else, but the execution was poor, man. I think like everything about it felt like it dragged on way too long. The more I read, maybe it did get funnier, but I've read funnier series at the end of the day, and this is just like it's the same problems I had with Shugamaru. This is what it comes down to. It's the same problems I had with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The only good thing was the premise. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
the idea that a regular kid could essentially destroy a yokai just because he's like, in the modern day, none of what you are makes sense anymore.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Why you do?
It's a really funny concept, I think.
The thing is, like, it started off kind of funny when, you know, he's like questioning the kappa and he's like, but why? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Have you actually done any of that recently? You know, like anything? Like, it started funny.
Yeah.
And it drained really quick.
It did.
Because it was like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Can we move on now? And it's like, no, because I got to do like 30 pages.
Yeah. It's like something that Gintama would do, but Gintama does this in 5 pages, like a maximum for a gag. And this is basing that whole chapter on one gag. And boy, it just doesn't feel right with it. Like,
It doesn't.
yeah. I think it's
because it almost takes like half a page per like question response. It's almost like you're watching improv almost like in real time, you know?
yeah, that's so true.
Because it's like thing, answer, thing, answer, thing, answer, thing, answer. And it's just like, it's not even like rapid fire
Nah.
because you're not like doing a thing, then you're moving on. You're doing a thing, but the thing is still going.
Yeah.
And it's still going. And you wish they would stop, but they are too committed to the bit. And you're just like, come on now. Can we do something else?
It switched over to some other yokai, and I was like, oh, is this still going on? What's up with this? And then it switched back to the Kappa again. And I was like, oh, wait, this is all still in the same thing. And it just felt like, okay, look, just wrap this up, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's a shame. Like you said, the start was quite funny. It just got old real fast. And again, same problems we had with Sugamaru. I don't think we can really say much else about it without just being more negative, to be honest.
No, I think actually it would have worked better as almost like a newspaper style comic strip.
A short thing, yeah.
Just really short ones that are just like, okay, that's good. And then you move on.
Yeah.
Even like 15 pages, I think, is too much.
Yeah.
I think this would have, like, if this was maybe max a 10-pager. No, I think, yeah, not too bad then.
Yeah, it just ain't the right format. It just falls flat on so many things. And as a comedy series, that's the worst thing you need. Like, if the jokes aren't landing, it's the worst fucking thing. It just comes across a bit shit. But out of the woods now, though, because from here on out, all of the series are ongoing series.
Yes.
So the next one has 23 chapters.
Yep.
Which is funny because it started after Yokai Buster, but has more chapters somehow. I don't know how it worked. Maybe Yokai Buster took a break for a couple weeks or something. I don't know. But yeah, we've got Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi.
Yes. Or Exorcist no Kiyoshi-kun, created by Shoichi Usui, published June 24th to present. As Pepe said, 23 chapters. Meet the strongest exorcist the world's ever known. Literally, that's it.
Oh,
thanks, Wiz.
I'll tell you what, with this series, the art is so misleading.
Oh, yeah.
Because I looked at this, I was like, this looks like it's going to be another supernatural. Again, more exorcists, more. And it, like, I looked at it like, this is going to be a serious battle thing again. Okay, let's jump into it. Let's go again. And I'll tell you what, it caught me off guard because fully expecting a serious manga, and then suddenly it breaks into some brilliant comedy bits.
Yeah, it subverts your expectations so fast.
It's like, oh, we've got the strongest exorcist. He was the fastest to graduate or whatever it was. And then immediately you find out he's absolutely shit scared of demons. And I love the gag where it's like, I told him I'd be done with this in 5 minutes, but I've been sat here for 3 hours just staring at this demon. And then even the demon started to pity me. And it's like, this is a really, like going back off of fucking Yokai Buster, this feels like a really good gag. The setup's really good, and the art is so misleading, and it does the gag very well. And then towards the end of the chapter as well, you end up getting like a weird like battle segment as well, where you actually see that this guy can actually fight.
Yeah.
And even that catches you off guard. Like,
yeah, he's not just like given titles. He actually has the power to back it up. He's just not confident in himself. But he's drawn in such a way that it looks like, oh, he's like some Yakuza style kid, you know? Like he's gonna be some tough gobby little shit probably that's just walking around causing trouble, but he's not. I do like the juxtaposition that is happening in the chapter because it's super intense and then it gets really soft. Because it's like after the demon comes out and like you get exposition for the way the demon world works, and he's like, I'm just an office worker really, but like once you get the summons, it's a big deal, so you got to take the summons. Everybody was so jealous.
It's a cool concept. It's a really fun concept as well, because it's like, it's not just, oh, demon's evil, gotta possess. It's like, actually no, there's actually backstory there, so there's a lot of room with this as well, where you can like play more on what the exorcist side is like and what the like demon side is like, and you've got this comedy coming through. You got like,
the only criticism I have though is they set their power scaling already.
Yes,
but they've started off really high. Because one of 13 demon lords shows up, so you're already, now we know, there's 12 others we're gonna have to go through. He takes down the first demon lord like super easy.
Yeah.
and shows off a bunch of his abilities and stuff. But I'm kind of like, what? I get it, because he's called the ultimate. You have to put the stakes up straight away, right? So he has to take out someone pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the 13 already within the first chapter,
It's
I don't know, man.
It's the longevity here, which you're like, wait, what's gonna happen here? I guess you can do smaller demons as well. You can space that out quite a bit, luckily. So they've given themselves enough room where it's like, hey, we can go through these 12 other demon lords periodically. And you never know, some demon lords that may end up being on his side or whatever, so you can play that kind of story.
Yeah, maybe.
You can kind of do like, not exactly demon lords, but like, we've seen a really wholesome demon come through in that first chapter, the office worker demon.
Yeah.
And you can play different kinds of demons from that as well. So there's like, I mean, I think this series' longevity lies in how they develop that demon world rather than the Exorcist world, I think. Like, I'm curious to see how that turns out as well. And there's like, obviously interactions you can play with other Exorcists. Out of all of them so far that we read, I think this, like, up until this moment, I think this was actually my favorite out of up until this moment, bear in mind, because I think there are still some really good ones coming up.
Yeah, there are some real good ones coming.
Yeah.
To be fair.
But yeah, I think it's a good concept, and I like how it's played out. It doesn't feel like it's like, oh god, we got another Exorcist, we got another supernatural.
Yeah.
But it does stuff which is different, which I like. This is what we needed coming through. And it seems to be like quite a decent point in the table of contents. It's like about halfway-ish. So it's getting like a fairly decent reception.
Halfway, yeah, that's not bad.
For like a newer series.
Yeah, newer series that seems to, at least from the first chapter, seems like it's going to focus more on like the character interaction and sort of like, not exposition, but you know, like sort of indirect like world building from just characters talking about things and trying to understand each other.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it doing well, but again, it still really is that like, if it decides or gets told to focus more on the battles, that power scaling, I think, is going to be its biggest issue.
It's a tricky one. It's not like I think it could work, but it has to play its cards right. That's the one thing with this. I think I think jumps onto a really good series here. They just got to make it work. That's the one thing with this. They got to make this one work, and I think it is. I hope this doesn't get cancelled because I actually think it is a very good series. I'd like to see longevity of it, but we'll see how it goes. I think it's one of those ones where.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say on it before we move on?
No, I think it's pretty good. So definitely go read that one.
Yeah, 100. I'd recommend that one. Right. Hima-Ten.
Yeah, moving on to one of mine and Pepe's like favorite style of mangas, ones that are just really unconventional. And this one, Hima-Ten, created by Genki Ono, published July 8th, ongoing, 21 chapters. This house cleaning high schooler's new client is a literal hot mess.
Does not give any context into what else this manga is.
Nope.
There's so much more to this manga than that.
Oh yeah, way more.
Again, this is just one-liners, but like, I feel like that's actually out of all the ones we've come across so far, that feels like it's underselling it a lot.
Yeah.
Considering that this is a spoiler alert, I actually really liked Hima-Ten. I think this is
I really like this. And I think I enjoy these more because of everything that's happened over the years of doing this show.
Yeah.
I have been breaking out of that cycle, and I was like, yo, I'm down. I'm just down, man. Like, okay, let's go. Dude just likes cleaning and like stuff. You know,
it's one of those ones where, like, before anyone gets it, this is a rom-com, so immediately my kind of series, Nathan's getting into these kind of things, which I like to see. And Nathan, did you ever read Full Drive at all?
Yes, I did.
It's that mangaka.
Is that him or mangaka?
Yeah, it's the Full Drive mangaka. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, this feels like a familiar thing, and then there we go. Full Drive is
that's whoa, from a table tennis manga to this? Dang.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta appreciate authors which switch it up and change genres like this. You know what I mean? Like they're versatile.
Okay, well then I'm real glad this is ongoing and has legs, because I really wanted Full Drive to succeed. Okay,
Yeah.
I really like that one. So the fact that this mangaka's back and I know this now, I'm down even more so.
Yeah.
Let's go. Cleaning houses and that. Let's go.
This is like, and I think the characters set up in this series are actually so good because, yeah, it's a rom-com and it's like that kind of thing. But you got, like you said, this guy that's really into cleaning. And then you got this girl who's like basically an influencer, has 800,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Joins his school and is also like his client for his new cleaning business as well.
Yep.
And like he gets to the house and he's like, well, everything's a mess. This person is an absolute slob. And then he turns out that it's like, oh, it's her.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be one of those series which is so cool to see these characters develop a bit more, because even though they meet in school, he's like, oh, I'll probably just be friends with her for today, and then she'll move on, she'll have other friends or whatever when she gets to know other people. And if anything, this situation is pushing them closer together, and I'm interested to see where this goes as well.
Yeah, same.
This doesn't feel like your typical kind of rom-com series either, where like oh, this girl's a tsundere, she hates him or whatever, like, which you see a lot of at the start of these kind of series. What was her name? Sorry. Himari Yoshino.
Himari Yoshino, yeah.
Yeah, so she's like a character which is actually quite likable from the start. She's like kind of cheeky in some ways, kind of like pushes the boundaries a little bit, but actually is like a likable character. All the characters in this are likable, I think.
Yeah, I think the characters in this are on the same level as like Blue Box, you know?
Yeah.
No one is outright unlikable, but they're quite relatable, and you're like, I know someone,
Yeah.
but that's like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, okay, I don't know an influencer that's the CEO of their own like makeup company, right?
Yeah.
But I know someone that's got a similar personality to Himari.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone, you know, who's got a similar personality to Tenichi, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything's, I mean, including the teenager that's got way too much money because they're an influencer. It's all somewhat relatable and believable in today's world. Yeah,
It's stuff you see, and arguably I think this series is a really good move for Jump. Again, we don't really have like a rom-com series that big out right now apart from Blue Box. And reading back-to-back supernatural manga, believe me, this felt like a breath of fresh air. Like reading this, it was like, I think if anything, it probably made me like it even more. This is something that I'm wholly invested in now. After this, I probably do want to try and read more chapters of this. I really like it.
yeah, I would like to as well. I think the lightheartedness of it all,
Yeah.
because it's not exactly gonna turn into like, oh man, there's some crazy situations or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
it does feel like it's just gonna be your sort of rom-com-y, like slice of life-y thing.
Yeah, high school. It's high school stuff. You know what I mean? They gotta fall into some tropes somewhere.
High school, it's a big business.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. I'm interested to see how they twist this story with the whole influencer thing, and like the cleaning thing is quite an interesting concept as well. Like usually it's like, oh, like the guy in this situation is usually like, oh, he's one of the best. He has some of the best grades in the class, and he's like, oh, I've got to like tutor this person or whatever because they got crap grades, and it's like,
Yeah,
like this is actually an interesting concept, and I'd like to see how they do this going forward as well. I can imagine it's going to be tropey. There's going to be some tropes,
oh, for sure.
but I think they can dance around that with the setup they've made here. So I'm curious to see how this goes, and I am interested in reading more for sure.
Yeah, same. Honestly, I also recommend it.
Yeah.
I can see this going places. I can share it.
Arguably, right now with that setup, it's one of the first ones on this list, maybe apart from Policeman Chojo, that I could see getting an anime, maybe. Like right off the bat, like I think this is more plausible to get an anime, but I think it has the legs for it.
I don't know. Ultimate Exorcist, Kiyoshi.
Yeah.
I could see that too.
Yeah, true. That I think is one of those ones. If it has the pathway, I think those three right now are the most plausible, especially since the rest of them got cancelled. So I realize that the three they're the only
The
ones.
bar is pretty low.
They're the only ones that are ongoing right now. So yeah.
Oh Lord.
Right. Okay. Well, talking about series that are getting anime, I've already given this quite a bit of hype already from that one line. Ichi the Witch. Right, this is what I'm excited to talk about.
Ichi the Witch, Madan no Ichi, written by Osamu Nishi, illustrated by Shiro Usazaki, published September 9th, ongoing 13 chapters. In a world where only women can be witches, one unsuspecting boy acquires their power. I'm going to say straight off the bat, I like this. I thought this was cool.
I'm going I'm gonna say something even bigger right now. I think this is my favorite. Yeah, out of all the mangas we've read today, this is my favorite. Like, there's still more to come.
Yeah.
I'm saying this right now. This is my favorite. Has come out in 2024. Like, I'm including Astro Royale in that as well.
I think it just set everything up so well. You know what I mean? Like,
This is yeah.
art was good, story's good,
Mm-hmm.
this power scaling seems sensible. Like,
Mate, yeah.
it's strong. It's very strong.
It's good to see a fantasy, like this is our first fantasy series as well, arguably on this side, and like the concept of like him being a hunter that's turned into a witch.
Yes.
Like, he's got this. What is it called? Are they called magics? Is that what it is?
Yes, they're called magics. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's basically, there's this magic which is like all the witches currently have been able to defeat it, and as soon as a witch comes close, it's like, oh, I can only be killed by a man. Suddenly, here comes our main character, a hunter, steps in, kills this thing, and takes its power. And geez, I am so excited to see where this goes, man. Like, this is like filling bits where, like, I think a slot that like Black Clover probably left when it left Weekly Jump. Like, this feels like it has that setup. Like, me and you both, Nathan, we love our Magic series as well. Like, this is one thing, and it's like, I feel like this has legs. This is like, I don't even know whereabouts this is gonna go,
Bro.
but from that first chapter, I'm already like, hear me out. This is gonna be one of Jump's biggest series.
Yeah, I wanted to keep reading, to be honest.
I really wanted to.
The setup of Ichi as a character was real good. Like, straight up, he's real likable and he's real knowledgeable. But why? And it's like, I was abandoned in the forest with it. I was left there with a knife, and then I quickly realized no one's coming, and I need this knife. I need to survive. And then the fact that he's also like death for death.
Yeah.
I only kill if something tries to kill me first.
Mm-hmm.
If I sense bloodlust, that means I can kill it. And I want to kill it. But I won't kill unless someone attacks me first.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. And it's like the fact that they set up so only girls can be witches. And you got like Descaris, Monogold. Like, they've got these titles, you know, like the Abyssal Witch, the Oriite Witch. And now you've got the first dude ever.
Yeah.
To become a witch. The only thing is, I was like, okay, it makes sense. Outfit change, right?
Yeah.
But you know, when you're like, I kind of wanted him to stay in his like animal hide,
Yeah.
and his stuff, and still just be like a fucking hunter. Like, I think that would have been cooler.
I think this is where the comedy is gonna come through, though. Like, he's dressed as a witch now,
A little bit, yeah.
and like you can see where this is coming through as well. Like, where this is gonna go. There's some brilliant comedy set up here. I mean, that like this already looks so cool in terms of like battle as well. You know, this is gonna be mega.
Well, because they set it like on a huge scale as well. Because like the magic that Ororo, the magic he took down,
Yeah.
was huge. It was like almost the size of a mountain.
Yeah. It's incredible. And like, I think the whole setup of magics as well is so cool. Like, was it like one day the water magic appeared and said, if you drink everything, all the water I give you, you can have this power, basically. And that even sets up what other magics are there out there. I want to know more about these other magics.
Right.
It makes you want to read like what else is out here for this series, what else is coming.
See, do you know what it is?
Yeah.
That's how you do a like weird quest thing good.
Yeah.
Because you remember that one anime we watched, the games, the gods or whatever, that stupid fucking shit.
Oh, the Gods games we play. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you know that was all kind of like, oh, this is the criteria or whatever, and it was boring.
Yeah.
I feel like this is how you do it, right? Because it's like, oh, there's a clear reward, as in you get magic. People can, almost any girl can take up the challenge and become a witch. Essentially, like it sets up a world where like almost anyone can become a thing, but it is difficult because it's like Pepe said, like the water magic said that, but like the ice magic is like, yeah, if you can survive like an hour sleeping next to me, we're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
it's the conditions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's like so many like cool things. It's like the wind magic's like, oh, walk with me for 24 hours and then you can have like,
yeah.
And it's like, it's so cool and I want to know more like about it. Arguably as well, Ichi the Witch, I don't know if you've ever talked about this series before. Came out in 2018 called Act Age. It was a slice of life manga about acting.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So again, it had an artist and a storyliner.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, some shit went down with the writer, basically, and then the series got cut. Basically, they were like, "No." Jump was like, "Yeah, we can't run this series." The writers,
Oh, okay.
and arguably, you've got this artist here who is it was one of Jump's biggest series at the time as well. Like, didn't not run long enough to get an anime or anything. But the art was so good in it. And it was kind of a shame on the artists that they had to lose their series because of the storyteller's fucking.
Is this the same artist as that?
So this is the same artist. They've come back with a different writer, and it's like, let's go. Let's pick this up.
Yeah, the art is very strong.
It's like, and that's what you need from a series like this. A series which you need to have this world building, to have this like tell us this story, this like grandiose story, and this like you need artists that can go with it. And boy, the art hits. This has got a lot going for it right now.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited to see where this is going. It's up in the top as well in table of contents.
Not surprised.
Again, it's only got 13 chapters right now, but boy, like, I think I said it before, this is going to be one of Jump's biggest series coming up. So do keep your eye on this. Watch this space of this series, 100%. It's going to be big.
I 100% agree with you. This is probably the strongest one of the year. And I say probably, at least to me, strongest one.
Yeah. Because, like, we've got a few more coming up as well. We've still got 3 mangas to go through.
Yes.
But, like, again, these are strong mangas, though. I'd say for 2024, the first half of it was kind of a weak start. But, boy, I think we got some interesting ones coming up as well. So keep your eyes peeled. Keep listening.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like they hit with Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi and went, right, we don't need to look for that JJK no more. What else we got coming in?
Yeah. Side quest completed. Let's move on. Let's move on, yeah?
Right.
Because as soon as that finished, it's like, here's your rom-com.
Yeah.
Here's your like magic manga. Here's everything. It's like they're moving on with the genres, and these are slapping, you know?
Yeah. Because the next 3 are like super, super different.
Yeah, which I like. I think for us especially, reading all of these and then finally getting past that supernatural barrier, a lot of this feels like a breath of fresh air. But let's move on to the next one.
Yes, next one is one that I originally wasn't looking forward to.
Yes.
Shinobi Undercover, or Shinobi Goto, which I think might be a Japanese portmanteau of Shinobi and Shigoto, the word for work. I think that might just be like the 2 words slapped together.
Okay, yeah.
Written by Ippon Takeguchi, illustrated by Santa Mitarashi, which every time I read that just throws me off. Just like, there's a Japanese person out there called Santa. Santa-kun! Published September 16th. Merry Christmas! Santa-san! 11 chapters, a nervous ninja and a total klutz spark an unlikely friendship in a school full of danger. Before I read it, I read the premise.
Yeah.
And when this was first announced, I was really excited because I was like, oh, a ninja series? Fuck yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then it was like, oh, he's a bodyguard for a high school girl. And I was like, oh, fucking shit.
Yeah,
this is going to be some stupid sitcom bollocks.
Uh-huh.
I want fucking combat. Don't put a ninja in it without combat. I got my combat.
He did get his combat. And arguably, I kind of similar things to not exactly in that way, but I saw a Shinobi Undercover series. I saw Ninja Manga and I was like, look, in 2023, we went through a phase of these, there's a bunch of series which came across and they're like Shinobi or like an old-timey kind of manga. And I was like, this is okay. I don't know if it's going to be my kind of thing. And so I went into this one expecting it to be quite meh. I was like the ones that we saw at the start of 2024, I was expecting this to be like, look, this will be a typical concept. It's going to be like that. And then it's like, it'll probably get cancelled after 20 chapters or whatever. And then I read it. Not gonna lie, the start for me was a bit slow. I was like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
It's only until it got into the last half of the manga where I was like, okay, I see where you're coming from here. I vibe with this. It's got comedy in it, which I like. It's not solely driven by the comedy.
Yeah.
And there's some good art in here and some good fighting as well. Some good like battle stuff.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, a little bit predictable at times.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the teacher walk around the corner, I was like, that's going to be evil fucker. I know it's going to be an evil fucker. Yeah. And you know exactly where it's going. The moment the two main characters meet, the bodyguard and the client, arguably, can't know that he's a ninja, which is another interesting thing. I was like, oh, how long is this going to keep up for? They work well together. These two characters work well together. And you can see that they're going to work well together. I mean, it's in the bloody description of the thing.
Well, I mean, I think it's also because of the way the characters are written, you know? Like, the main character has been trained basically a weapon. Like, that's all he was ever trained is stealth, ninja stuff, ninjutsu, right? And so he doesn't know how to interact with people. He's like, got a lot of social anxiety. And then he's guarding Aoi Mukai, and she's just, I guess, a rich kid, but like she's just like this nice girl, who happens to be real clumsy. And when I say real clumsy, I mean like clumsy to the point of like gag manga kind of clumsy, which puts me off a little bit. But it's the interaction between the two and then the situations that work for me.
I agree. I think like for me, the gag manga stuff like doesn't put me off completely, but I think it's because it's layered in with a bunch of other things as well. I think I do like the concept that like, oh, they already had other ninjas set up, so Yodaka doesn't have to be interacting with her. Like, so they're like, oh, this girl will be her best friend, and this guy will be her boyfriend, and like they're ninjas, but they'll be fine with it.
Yeah,
and she's at me like, is it Aoi? Mukai is just literally like, nah. I don't want to hang out with these people. I want to hang out with this other dude. It's like,
yeah, the other kid who seemed to have naturally interacted with me because her whole life has been sort of orchestrated to seem normal, but everyone's like a plant, and she's subconsciously like catching on to it.
Yeah, and that's what she's drawn towards, and I like that. I think it's quite wholesome, and I think I like the way these characters are working together. And again, like, although it might not be my favorite series on this list, I did thoroughly enjoy this. I did really like this.
Yeah, I also did. It was actually quite refreshing how wrong I was with my initial impression. My assumption was, oh, it's just gonna be fucking typical shit in it. But like, I was actually very pleasantly surprised that the characters are written quite well, and again, the art style, man. When Yodaka gets serious, it's just like it gets this shading, and the art just like reflects it so well that you're like, oh no, he's a trained killer. Kid will fuck someone up if he has to.
It's so cool to see that kind of stuff. And as I said, like, if you're a fan of series that can do a lot of bits, this is for you 100%. I think it's a fun one. It's cool. Like, the characters are fun. Everything about it is a good experience reading. So I think 100%. I'd say check this out easily.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next one. I've got mixed thoughts about this, but I'll let you introduce it. You've done everything else. I don't know why. I'll let you introduce. Like, I'm going for the introducer.
Well, you did Astro Royale.
Yeah. Don't want it to lose work, but yeah, sure.
Right. Next one is Hakutaku, created by Koki Ishikawa, published September 23rd, ongoing, 11 chapters. Aspiring video game developers give a whole new meaning to the game of life. Now, this one I was like, okay, interesting. Another one of those, on paper, another one of those series that I'm probably going to like, because Pepe and I tend to like the ones where it's like, oh, it's about an industry. You sort of learn about a thing. However, this one's extra special to me because I'm like, okay, come on in. Let's see what you're doing. Let's see what you're putting out there. I know a thing or two. I'll fact check you.
How did you feel about this, Nathan? This is like something, because obviously you said like you've got a lot of connections to this one in terms of like what you like and stuff. How do you feel about this one?
It was okay.
Yeah,
it was alright. It's not too bad.
After a string of really good series, this one I don't know how to feel about, right? Because I don't like, especially when you compare it to the earlier series, it's actually quite good.
Yeah.
But it's also very confusing to me. This is one thing that I was like, kind of, where, like, what is this plot right now? Because it's set up in a school, right?
Yep.
But the teacher's also giving out these, here's this assignment, you have to make a mini game. And I was like, wait, what kind of school is this? Sorry, is this like a gaming school?
Yeah.
Did they establish this? I don't remember them establishing that whatsoever.
No, it's a regular school.
Yeah.
I think it's just a weird IT task, like,
Yeah.
at least over here, you wouldn't get a task like that in ICT or IT.
No. You wouldn't get in school in general. Like, in our schools, you definitely wouldn't do. Unless you go into a specialized uni or college. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say, you wouldn't get that unless you took like a computer science class.
yeah.
And it was more focused around you learning to program in a specific way or a specific language for whatever, like
Yeah.
in regular, like, at least the way we went through school, like in regular IT, you wouldn't just get a pamphlet or a book and they're like, off you go, make the mini game, make the game
Yeah.
prototype. And it's like,
It's a weird, because I don't know if I completely get it. And I don't think I completely vibe with it. However, the characters in this, for example, like Hikuma, I actually quite like as a character because it's clear he's being bullied, but he doesn't realize it. He's just a happy-go-lucky kid. Like,
the kid turned his life into a game because he's that much of a gamer.
yeah.
He's disassociated so bad that life is a game.
And it's interesting. I'm like, oh, okay. And Noto is a character I don't know if I care for yet. I'm a bit here and there about them. The thing is, even though I have these things, I don't know if I care for this character. I don't know if I get this scenario. I don't know if I get this. At the end of the chapter, out of all of these series today, I know I said I want to read more of Ichi and I want to read Hima-Ten a bit more. This one was immediately the one I was like, read the next chapter. Like, I didn't, because but instinct was like, I want to see where this scenario goes.
Yeah.
Because I want to give this more of a like, part of me wanted to give this more of a chance, if anything. I didn't, because I was like, no, I need to read the next manga. But I was like, this was one where I was like, it's not my favorite, but I want to see where it goes. I want to see more about this. It's caught my curiosity a bit. And I'm like, I am interested. I don't know if I'll keep up with it at all. I might read the second chapter out of curiosity. Whether I stick with it or not is here or there. The art, I'm not exactly a massive fan of either. The art's decent.
It's okay. It's not.
It's okay. I think that's what it is. It's like, it's a very,
The artwork is clean.
yeah.
Nothing super like standout about it.
No.
I think for me personally, the only reason I would keep reading is to see how in the weeds they're going to get about game design and game development.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the first chapter, you don't want to bog it down too much with like technical elements because you're going to lose the reader,
Absolutely. Yeah.
But like where they've made this first game, the thing is, I was like, are they using an engine, a pre-made engine, or are they making their own engine? Like, I had questions that I wanted to know from a technical standpoint that I was not going to get.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, for this kind of series, ones where we've read, it's like, well, the next step is like, okay, we made one hit. Now we got to try and do like a new genre.
Yeah.
Or now we got to do one that's a little more broad and not specific to people we know with inside jokes. Now we can do game jams, and it's like we do ones that don't have prizes, one that has prizes. Now we can try and start an indie studio and this, that. Like, I can sort of see where it could go based on my knowledge. But at the same time, I'm also like, I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people because, the whole indie game boom. But like, how many people who are going to read this and be like, oh, I can completely relate to the struggles of using pre-made game engine A and using this language, coding language versus that coding language, or the versatility of that is better than that one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many people are going to read that and be like, I totally understand.
Yeah. You've got to really make it like user friendly, like idiot, like not idiot, but like kind of people that don't know the industry or don't know all of this. You got to make it accessible for those people, like, because if they started bogging down all that sort of stuff in the first chapter, I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Well, yeah, you're not exactly gonna have the fucking characters sit there and be like, right, in the 3 weeks, okay, so we're gonna spend a whole page talking about how we're gonna use C# or C++, in pre-made engine.
The moment you get bogged down in those details, you could lose a lot of people on it. I think the thing that drives me most about this is that I do like how unique this concept is. I actually really, I think that's one of our favorite things when we read manga. We want to look for that unique concept, something we've never read before.
Yeah.
And even a scenario where he's like, kind of like, he's partnered up with these people in school. but like his partner's basically using him and is like just seeing him as a lackey.
Yeah.
And what I want to see, the thing that made me want to read that second chapter is like, what comeuppance are we getting from this? Like what is the reaction of all the classmates when they're like, oh, Hikumi, you made this? And he gets the recognition.
Yeah.
I want to see where that follows. That's the thing that kind of gets me wanting to read the next chapter. Not necessarily the whole scenario. I think the scenario is interesting, unique, but that isn't what's getting me to want to read the next chapter. What's getting me to want to read the next chapter is the scenario that the character's in more than anything. This isn't particularly led by the most like groundbreaking characters either.
No.
That's why I find it weird. Out of all the mangas that we've read here, this is the one where I'm like, I really want to see where this goes, but I'm also not too invested at all.
You know what it is? I think we want to read for the same type of reason, but not the same specific reasons, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that we have questions and we just want to see if we get the answers.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily want the same answers.
Yeah.
And have the same questions, but we're just like, please explain to me, please. I need to know.
Yeah. I want to read more chapters of Ichi the Witch. I want to read more Hima-Ten, but I also want to read Hakutaku, not because I want to overly get into the series, but I just want answers. It's just more of a brain scratch. That's what it is, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah, it literally is. It's just because it's left us with a bunch of questions, and funny enough, we are asking different questions.
Yeah.
Because you want to know about the story and the character development, and I'm like, no, I want to know about the game development.
You want to know more about the scenario, which it hits different points, and I'll probably, as I said, I'm going to probably read a bunch of these follow-up after this episode, but like, yeah. So it's hard for me to say whether I recommend this or not, but I think it's a make your own judgment one on this one. Like,
yeah.
I'd be like, look, go into it, give it a shot. You might like it, you might not. See how you feel about it, and then...
Well, I mean, it did its job, though, as a first chapter, because either way, whether we liked it or not, or didn't know how to feel about it, we still want to read it, so...
yeah, absolutely. So, I guess we'll see how it goes at some point. Probably won't let you guys know, but... But yeah, you can let us know in the comments about what you thought of it. But our last manga of today...
Yes.
This only has 3 chapters, so it's very fresh.
Yes, because this cheekily this episode was planned a long time ago, and this cheekily came out super recent. I had to read this last night before I went to bed because I didn't even know it came out until Pepe messaged me. Sid Craft, Love is a Mystery, or Shido Kurafto no Saishu Tsuiri.
Yeah.
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 Created by Taishi Tsutsui. God, tongue twisters. God.
Yeah, I read that. I was like, fucking. I had to type it in Google because I have something that coming up in a second. But yeah.
Published November 18th. Ongoing, 3 chapters. Sid Craft is a great detective who yearns for romance, but the only thing he seems to attract are mysterious cases.
Yes. Before we get into it, this is by the same mangaka that did We Never Learn.
This why it looked familiar.
Like, I saw it immediately. I was like, this is We Never Learn. I know this is We Never Learn. Kind of the manga. I saw it. I was like, this is a mangaka I know.
So to me, this series felt like Jump went, hey, that Ron Kamanahashi thing, that's an interesting premise, right? We should get one like that, but different. So, we didn't copy the homework.
Yeah.
Because Sid Craft felt a lot like Ron.
Yes.
In the fact that they're both like ace detectives and they just like solve things real quick and it's super easy for them to solve. And the cases always just find them. But the difference is in the characters' like stories.
Yes.
Because Ron has like a whole thing happen and he's got his own thing, right? But that series wasn't in Shonen Jump.
No.
And Sid Craft, to me, just feels like a very similar thing, but with a different coat of paint.
A little bit. I think Ron Kamonohashi is definitely a character which is like Sid Craft, Ron Kamonohashi, two detectives, right? Both kind of like a little bit edgy and obsessed with their job, basically.
Me.
However, Sid Craft is a character, which is like, oh, he's cool, calm, and collected. And then the moments where he's alone is like, he just breaks down. Is like, I want to find love. I want to do this. And I tell you what, this whole series, Sid Craft Love is a Mystery, is a really funny concept, I think. It's not something I don't think anyone could have ever come up with.
No.
Like, it's a weird, if anything, this series gives me, I don't know if you've ever watched it or if you know much about it, Kaguya-sama Love is War.
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it. It's like a rom-com one where like these kids are like, they're student council president and vice president, but they love each other, but they never admit it. But
okay.
the whole thing is about trying to get the other one to admit that they love the other one. So they both know they love each other, but they won't say it to each other. And it's a really fun concept like that, like a good play on a romance series. And this is why I kind of link it to this a little bit, because this is like kind of a romance series, because you've got Sid Craft and you've got the other two kind of mainish characters.
Yeah, Elio and Souffle.
Yes, Souffle is
What a fucking name, by the way. Souffle Flambery. Fucking hell.
Which is, you read that name and you think, oh, they're a chef, right? No, it's the lead inspector. So Souffle is basically his childhood friend, but he doesn't know that.
His first love.
His first love as well. That's it, yeah. And then Elio is his assistant.
Who's obsessed with him.
And that's where the love aspect kind of comes in, because Sid Craft is just like, he's desperate to find love, but the way that he solves crimes just gets in the way every time, which is, again, really funny. And then you got these other two characters which are like also like typical love interest kind of characters, but then you got this whole scenario of, oh, murders are happening and we have to solve the crime. And with that, is this whole series is such a unique way of telling a rom-com. I feel like it features more of the comedy as well. Like, it does comedy well, it does romance quite interesting as well. Because I've read We Never Learn before, I'm interested to see where this goes.
See, when I read this, I knew this was going to be your kind of series.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy this one as much. I didn't really vibe with this. I was like, it is what it is. Like, cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, Pepe's gonna like this.
Yeah, I do really like this. Yeah, you're right.
It's because, like, when I read it, it was like, it had this sort of tone of absurdity that I'm like, literally, if it has this sort of vibe to it, this feel,
yeah,
this absurd nature, I'm like, yeah, Pepper gonna like it. You just sort of, I don't know what it is, and you gravitate to these kind of, like, for lack of better word, wacky weirdness.
Yeah. I do love the weird series, like like that. That's why, like, certain things, like, for example, the Yokai Buster series. On paper, that is also my kind of series, but obviously bad execution on that. This is also on paper 100% my kind of series. Actually, to be fair, when I first read the description of it, I was like, oh, maybe I won't vibe with this. But I think the moment you start reading it, the whole chapter, you need to get the whole chapter to get the whole vibe of what this series is about. Because certain bits of it are like, oh, he's solving this crime and he's into everything. He's like the best detective. And they explain that really well. But then there's also this comedy that comes through as well, and this romance, and it's like, you got three genres going on here. Some might find it a bit much, and I can actually understand why, because you're throwing this whole other genre into it, which is going to be an interesting one for some people to read. I'm also quite curious at where this goes and how long it lasts, because in my opinion, this could go either way. I think it's a very well done manga, but can people get into it? It's only 3 chapters in, so it's hard to tell right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, like, theoretically, it could do pretty well because established mangaka that's had a long-running series. But at the same time, what you were saying about it having multiple genres, to me, as just a general reader of manga, it didn't feel super cohesive.
Yeah.
Like, there's the hard switches, and it's, there's only some moments where it's kind of like blends well, but a lot of the time it is just like a flick of a switch. It's like detective, rom-com. At least for me, that was like off-putting.
Arguably, I think if you're looking for a detective series, this might not be your kind of thing. Like, if you're looking for those kind of stuff, you want like crime series. This might not be it.
Mm.
However, if you're into your rom-coms, I think it might be a good shout. So it arguably is, what kind of series are you into? What are you looking for? And this might hit, depending on what you're looking for, or it might completely be like, nah, this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like, it all depends on the reader, this one, which is why I'm going to find it quite interesting to see how well this does. This feels less of like, is this good? Is this worth reading? And it all turns into, is this your kind of series?
Mm.
I think there's certain series like Ichi the Witch, for example, which you can kind of like be like, hey, I can enjoy this no matter where you come from background. And this one feels like, you might like it, you might not.
I think it's probably because this one is a little more like this one's a little more like honed in on what it wants to be.
Defo, yeah.
You know, so it's like laser focused on that. Whereas like when you think about Jump as a whole, things like Ichi the Witch, which are really good, it fits more into the broader scope of what Jump is, you know?
Yeah. It is just like, with that one, it's a time will tell. I like it, but I can also see, like, obviously it's not Nathan's cup of tea.
No. No, this one was just, I could not suspend my disbelief enough to be like, oh, okay, cool.
That's completely understandable. I can see exactly why that is. That brings us to the end of our 2024 news series and Weekly Jump. I guess before we wrap this up, Nathan, I think it's quite clear, we've established quite early on what our favorite one is.
Yeah.
Ichi the Witch, 100%. I think both of us are going to recommend that. Do you have a second favorite at all you'd recommend to anyone before we close this up?
Hima-Ten.
Yeah.
Hima-Ten.
And with that, I'm on the same page as Nathan. Hima-Ten and Ichi the Witch, my top two easily. If you could take anything away from this episode, I think go read those two series. I think they're arguably, again, second half of 2024, brilliant. I think first half was a rough start for a new series. No sports series this year either, which is interesting.
Sad.
Yeah, like usually we get a couple come through, but yeah, none this year. So maybe 2025 we'll see quite a fair few coming through. You never know. Like they've got their supernatural ones
Yay. Now. Another year of me being sad.
You never know.
I like it, but it died.
You never know, Nathan. They might do the try and tested method of throwing 12 sports manga at the wall, and hopefully one of them will stick.
Oh Lord.
Any closing thoughts, Nathan, before we wrap this up?
Go and read whatever sounds interesting from the list to you. Go make your own opinions. As always,
yes,
we can recommend whatever we want. We say whatever we feel, but that might not line up with your own vision. So always go and make your own opinions.
He do be speaking facts, people. Make your own opinions. Read these manga, 100%. Right, let us know in the comments what you think of any of these manga. If you have read them, is there any of these you want to check out? Please do let us know. We always love to hear from you guys. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button for future Culture Boys videos. Click the links in our description. We have our podcast platforms there. And we'll see you guys next time for another Cultured Boys episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.